It was a spirited House Republican impeachment inquiry hearing yesterday, thanks to Tony Bobulinski bringing an attitude to name names. And I thought a lot of what we heard from Bobulinski, of course, is what he's been saying for 4 years. But there was something new, and it was not calling Jamie Raskin and Dan Goldman liars. That was fun, but wasn't new, and anybody paying attention would know what he's saying is true.
Well, it just showed that he had the courage. Like, he was not going to be messed with.
Correct.
Naval officer, like, he just took it right to him.
Well, he's it's taken 4 years for him to have that moment to speak to the people who have lied about him and attacked his reputation. And so he wanted his day before the Congress, and he got it. He also, but one of the things that was new is this revelation that he and California Representative Ro Khanna had been communicating. And apparently Ro Khanna slithered out before he was confronted publicly by Bobulinski.
I'd like to spend 20 seconds. If you noticed, Congressman Khanna scurried out of here very quickly, and I'm actually disgusted as I sit here that he didn't address me based on the fact that I'm sitting here in front of the world trying to testify to the truth. In October 2020, I have messages I'm willing to produce to both the Democrats and the Republicans that Ro Khanna sent to me saying, you have always demonstrated to me that you're nothing but an honest with the highest integrity individual, and I was begging for him to go on CNN and tell the world in October 2020. I have extensive emails with Congressman Ro Khanna in 2021 and 2022 where I begged him and his staff to sit down with me and look at my BlackBerry phones that the Democrats are so focused on, to hire forensics experts and go through all of the factual information I had. So the fact that he did not even address me and then scurried out of here is disgusting to me.
All right.
Well, and I tell you what, too. I mean, contrast Tony Bobulinski on this matter of the Biden Incorporated hillbilly crime family. Hey, I've got all this information. I want you to see it. You make your own judgment. To Adam Schiff and Jamie Raskin and Dan Goldman and others running around for years talking about a smoking gun that would be forthcoming on Trump's collusion with the Russians that was never produced. It's an interesting contrast. For more on this, please be joined by Fred Fleitz, Vice Chair of the America First Policy Institute Center for American Security. He previously served as National Security Council Chief of Staff, CIA analyst, and House Intelligence Committee staff member. Fred, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Good to be here.
Well, against all of the swirl of the allegations against Hunter and Joe and the whole Biden Inc. operation, we have another wrinkle, and this is something that I saw you discussed with our friend John Solomon over at Just the News recently, and this is Hunter Biden trying to facilitate his Chinese communist friends when it comes to essentially becoming the global monopoly on nuclear power.
That's right, and it followed other reports of Hunter Biden trying to sell access to the U.S. natural gas market. Now, some of my fellow conservatives say that this represents some kind of conspiracy by the Biden family with China. You know, I haven't seen evidence of that. Maybe that's the case. I think this is about greed. Jim Jordan said in a recent hearing about the Biden crime family, the reason that Biden kept classified documents at his home was about pride and money. And I think this story about trying to gain access to the most important American producer of nuclear reactors represents the fact that, frankly, Hunter Biden was prepared to sell anything that was not nailed down for money, and I'm afraid his father was in on it.
And this particular play was to facilitate China's CEFC, the Chinese Communist-backed CEFC Energy, from to acquiring Westinghouse, right?
That's correct.
And so this is really interesting too, against the backdrop of another mega deal involving a foreign government, effectively, that was killed by Joe Biden. Nippon Steel tried to acquire U.S. Steel. No, we can't have that. Foreign-owned steel conglomerate? No. Acquiring a U.S. company? No. But if we get paid, we're happy to facilitate the Chinese communists in acquiring Westinghouse.
And, it's so frustrating. Look, I'm a national security expert, and I'm spending my time right now looking at the Middle East and the war in Ukraine. And I'm actually turning down TV interviews because I think this is appalling. I think it's pretty clear there is a Biden crime family. They were paid over $10 million for access to Mr. Biden when he was a vice president, thinking that Biden may sometime become president. Obviously, there was nothing this family had to sell that was worth $10 million. But this isn't going anywhere. The media doesn't care. I think the evidence of the hearing yesterday was quite compelling. We've had other really compelling hearings and reports and questions that can't be answered, but the media doesn't care. And it's just so frustrating because if just a small fraction of allegations like this were made against a Republican, they'd be out of there. They'd be indicted. They'd be in jail. But because this is a Biden, they're going to get away with it.
Well, AOC said there's no crime committed, RICO's not a crime. Did you see that part of the hearing?
I thought that was amazing. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I thought RICO is a crime, and I heard some pretty high-powered attorneys on Newsmax TV talk about how RICO really is a crime. That's based on that's the basis of the fraudulent charges against President Trump. I believe in Georgia. I mean, that doesn't mean that Trump is guilty of this, and he's not. But I think we know that RICO is a crime.
Well, and so this is the other thing too, because one of the fallback positions of the left is, one, it was first no money went to Joe. Well, that's by the boards. But then it's sort of like, sort of prove that it had some impact, right? If it didn't have any impact, then what does it really matter? It's just Hunter Biden's business. And if he's throwing his dad's name around, that's just what kids do, especially confused kids that are 50 years old and have a crack problem. And so there's nothing to see here. But with this CEFC Westinghouse concept, now you see how the former vice president, current vice president, and his family are compromised, and they're compromising America by extension. That's a real thing. That's a substantive, tangible thing.
Yeah, and once upon a time, politicians resigned because of the appearance of impropriety. We're way past that with Joe Biden, way past it. We know about these shell companies, these LLCs, set up for all the Biden family members to take foreign payments, and all these trips that the vice president brought his son to in China and to Ukraine and with other foreign officials. I mean, the evidence is pretty clear, but the media is just not going to hold Joe Biden accountable.
Do you think that I know you're frustrated, as I am to some extent, but and you don't want to get into the politics of this. So setting the politics aside, and the media's the DC press corps, the corporate media inside the Beltway, their purposeful blindness to this, is it still worthwhile what House Republicans are doing? Should this still be happening?
I'm glad they're doing it. I think that, frankly, we need an historical record. Maybe some Americans will listen, but I'm just frustrated that this isn't going to go anywhere. Biden is not going to be impeached. There won't be a vote to impeach him in the House, and obviously he won't be indicted in the Senate. But look, I'm glad that there's someone discussing it. But in terms of the efforts that I have to spend in talking about national security, I just don't have the time to do numerous interviews on this because I don't think they're going anywhere.
Fred Fleitz, we appreciate you doing an interview with us. He's the vice chair of the America First Policy Institute Center for American Security. Previously served as NSC Chief of Staff, a CIA analyst, and a House Intel Committee staff member. Fred, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Good to be here. Thanks.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Frank Vance, co-owner of Egan Vance Insurance Agency on Chicago's Northwest Side and a customer of Signature Bank. In my line of work, we pride ourselves on being there for our clients when they need it the most, and we recognize when someone does the same for us. As Egan Vance was expanding, we wanted to buy a much sought-after building in the neighborhood. We couldn't waste any time. I called Signature Bank, and that was all it took. I didn't have to talk to multiple people in siloed departments with multiple forms to fill out. One call did it all. As the one who was always looking out for my clients, it was a great change to know that my bank, Signature Bank, was looking out for me.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.